You are listening to the Adapt Performance Podcast, where we aim to make elite level strength and conditioning accessible to everybody. I'm your host, Jordan Webster, and let's get into the episode. Yes, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Adapt Performance Podcast. This is the first one of the year that I'll be putting out, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get the podcast rolling again. I think this year has been a little bit more inconsistent than I would have liked from a podcast perspective, and that was, for the most part, kind of leaning into more of the short form content on Instagram, putting those reels out on YouTube as well. So yeah, kind of leaning into Instagram a little bit more, but I'm ready to kind of dive a little bit deeper and be more consistent with these. It's just fun, I genuinely do enjoy it. I think I was speaking to one of the lads the other day who's just started doing some social media for his coaching business that he wants to build, and I genuinely enjoy making content. I think it's cool. I just think it's like making a video or making a free programs put out there, drafting emails, less so the emails. I do enjoy the idea and the actual writing down, but yeah, it's more creating a video that has visual appeal. You can use audio. I just think it's cool. I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, so we are into 2026. Happy New Year. What do we get up to? For this podcast, what I wanted to do is a little bit of a review of the year for us, and I guess myself personally. I then want to kind of go through a little bit of goal setting with you guys of a new concept to kind of think about that you might have heard before, you might not have heard before, but I think is vitally important to your success as an athlete, and just making sure that your training is good and you're consistent with those things, because we know it's incredibly important. I've then got a couple of questions from you guys that I'm going to run through, which is going to be on robustness circuits and movement prep. And then we're also going to dive into some quick conditioning sessions that you can take away with you and make you hate your life, to be honest with you. So, yeah, what's been happening? So over Christmas and New Year, me and the missus, we come from different towns. So I'm from Grimsby, Great Grimsby, actually. And she's from Newmarket, so it's kind of up and down the country a little bit. So we had Christmas at hers, came back to Sheffield for a day, just kind of restock on some supplies, and then we went up to Grimsby, took my little dog, Izzy, to meet the back home dog, Diesel, who's a mini Jack Russell, and he's a grumpy old man. So he was a little bit unsure, actually. We was really a bit anxious about how it was going to be, and they were actually fine. She's a wind-up, mate. She fully was trying to piss him off, kind of palming him in the face and doing that. And he took it for a while, to be fair, but we did snap a few times. But there's no fights, So I think when we do Christmas at mine next year, because we alternate, I think they'll be fine. Maybe. We'll see. We're going to trial run it a couple of times this year, just go home for a weekend and see. That way it doesn't ruin Christmas if we have to go home because they've had a fight. Yeah, food's been unreal. Food's been great. Sleep's been shit, actually, and my back's been a bit sore just because of all the travel, just driving, that type of thing, sleeping on sofa beds, or just sleeping in a bed that you're not used to, and sleeping with pillows you're not used to. We had this discussion yesterday. The pillows I seem to have been given or gifted by our parents have been bad. It's like you're sleeping on a slice of bread that's been squashed. It's so thin. I'm not a thin pillow guy. I want two good, meaty, pretty solid ones. Give me a cinder block, and I'll probably sleep better than one pillow that's super soft. I need to wedge this big, heavy head up. So yeah. Anyway, sleep's been pretty shit. Back's been a bit sore, but I managed to get in some really consistent sessions in over this week. Over the Christmas week. Managed to get some consistency with my cleans, get some consistency with lower body work, and that's been on the back burner for a while for me. Heavy barbell lifts, to be honest with you. More so just because I've been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu, and it kind of just got to this point where I'm like, jiu-jitsu was the priority for me. I wanted to throw myself into that, the dynamic sport of learning it and everything that comes along with it. And as a result, I didn't really want to overload too heavily with, heavy RDLs and heavy cleans and front squats, back squats, snatches. I didn't want to do it because I had a few injuries that I was trying to take care of. And it's one of those jiu-jitsu is rough, particularly my lower back, because I'm trying to be bendy wendy. I'm trying to learn the inversion game. I'm trying to get under people a little bit more, and I'm stiff as shit. I am genuinely like a plank of wood when it comes to being flexible. So I've had a few little back pops, and just wanted to avoid that. But because jiu-jitsu's on a little bit of a back burner for me, I say back burner, it's just deprioritized. And it sounds like, oh, so you're not doing jiu-jitsu anymore? Change your goals. It's like, no, I have changed my goals a little bit. I'm still going to do jiu-jitsu 2 or 3 times a week instead of the 3 or 4 that I was doing this year. But because this year was all about getting 10 comps in, that was my goal at the start of the year. I want 10 jiu-jitsu comps, just to improve my skills and improve the skill of competing. And I did that. I'm super proud that I did it because it was tough. Like, it was hard psychologically. I'm trying to manage a lot of things, and happy I did it. It was hard. Like, the injuries that I got, just from that side of things. So first comp of the year is when I did my LCL. Great start. I also then got my ankle ragged on a good 2 times. Different points during the year, both getting little ankle pops. Well, one got an ankle pop, and then one kind of got me mid-foot, which both resulted in me limping for about a week or so. So they weren't bad, but enough where I'm like, ugh, got a few shoulder bits. Been fighting off Kimuras like it's my job. So came with a lot of injuries, but that's the sport. It's like, you've just got to take it for what it is. If you don't want to get injured, I was going to say don't do jiu-jitsu, but if you don't want to get injured, probably just reconsider being a human being that's been born, because you will get injured. My mum doesn't play a sport. She's injured, right? It's the human experience. So there's a little bit of like, grow up, to be honest. Like, pain is a part of it. And it's not nice. It doesn't mean it's not fun. Like, we're all fuming that an injury takes us away from being able to do our favorite thing, right? I get it. But it just is what it is. And like, accept it, move on, figure out what you can do. As a review of the year then, so jiu-jitsu's been awesome. Got my blue belt in May, which is sick. Yeah, pumped about that. Gym has been really consistent, to be honest. My body's been the worst it's ever been, to be honest, like sore. But I've still managed to get my 3 sessions in every week, right? Minimum of 3, to be honest. Like, I was saying this to one of the lads the other day. I genuinely think I can count on one hand the amount of times I haven't done 3 S&C sessions per week. So I think over the course of my life, I think I have always done 3 to 4 to 5 S&C. The times that I haven't managed to get my 3 in is when I've had surgery. So I've had 2 hernia surgeries in my life, one when I was younger, one when I was about 20. And then I had my hip surgery when I was about 23. And those times I probably didn't, and that's just, it's just a part of what I do now. Like, it's easier to gym than not to gym, So that's been good. I managed to be consistent. Haven't really set massive PBs this year, to be honest with you. I've done some good jumping. But strength-wise, just kind of ticking over. I do think I built a little bit of muscle. My body composition has also changed as a result of just doing more conditioning, leaning into, well, I'm on the mats 3 times a week, so the conditioning work is automatically higher. I'm getting like an extra 3 to 5 hours worth of fitness, and then I'm actually doing more fitness on top of that just to improve it. So that's been good. Adapt has been going awesome. It's been sick. I think every year that goes by, we're getting better and better. Like, we're improving our systems. The results that we're getting with people is just, they're improving. Like, our name is getting out there as like, a key authority in the S&C space from a business perspective, which is sick. Like, and just working with cool guys, like guys and girls that are just excited about training, like love training, is a big part of who they are, what they're about. And, obviously they invest their time, their money, they trust us in it. And it's cool. Like, coming from my point of view of just, I've had amazing coaches in the past that have like fully shaped my life. I wouldn't have been in this career had it not been for a great coach after having bad coaches. So having a good one and realizing the power of that is just sick. Like, I don't take it for granted that people trust us, because I think it's so important. I know it's important to me. So Adapt is going awesome. It's been cool. It's been really cool. Build the other business that I have, which is teaching S&C coaches how to make business, a coaching business that's successful, profitable, and ultimately just delivers good results for their athletes, and does it in a way that doesn't create massive amounts of burnout, because burnout is so high in the coaching industry, to be honest. And I don't even think it's about skills. That's the troubling bit. Like, I don't think coaches leave the industry because they're not good coaches. Coaches leave the industry because they either don't have the business or marketing skills to keep their head above water from a financial standpoint. That's my genuine belief, and that's sad. It's the rough part of what we do is like, look, we're going to lose good coaches in this industry because of that fact, and it's only going to get more difficult. That's the reality. Like as AI increases, as the demand on your marketing skills being good, you need to kind of have that in some way, shape, or form, or have really good referral systems, or have a really good gym that has good footfall. So yeah, all that to say, Build is going really well. We've been in business for just over a year now. Got some awesome results with people, got some great testimonials that I need to edit and put out, which is sick. Yeah, just buzzing. I think life is good. Life is really good. And I always feel a little bit braggy saying it because that's not my intention. Like, I understand how people have bad years. People have a really tough time with life. And I feel for you. I've been there as well. Like, I've had some really stressful times, and I've kind of considered this will be my soft launch, I guess. Like, I always wish people spoke more about mental health in general. I'm always like, oh, people should speak about it more. And then I'm like, yeah, but I don't speak about it more. Therefore, I'm pretty hypocritical in saying other people should. Like, I've had struggles in the past. Like, I've had my bouts with anxieties and, medication and stuff like that. So to be in that really dark place for a couple of years and then to come out of it and be in a situation right now where life is good, genuinely, life is the best it's ever been, is sick. Like, I'm proud of myself for that. I'm proud of the people around me. Life's good. Okay. But all that to say, I'm not going to do a full episode on mental health. If you guys are struggling, let this be the little bit of a teaser you need to like get in touch. If you just need somebody to speak to, we'll grab a coffee, that type of thing. Like, I genuinely do think when I was struggling, just having somebody around to listen to was powerful. So, but yeah, life's good. Like, I'm really happy. So let's actually get into some of the good shit of today then. I want to speak about how to set better goals for this year. But actually, in particular, I want to help you be more consistent, because I feel like I've been pretty consistent. Like, that is a big part of who I am. I try and make things a routine. I try and make it a system, and I try and like just do the thing. Like, the other day, I saw a post, and it was related to business, to be honest, but you can apply this to anything. And it was literally a quote that just said, "Do you deserve the results you want? Do you deserve the results you want?" I'm like, fair one. And in the caption, he went into detail around saying, are your inputs, okay, so what you put into your fitness goals or your business goals, are your inputs, are your daily actions, your weekly actions, how you approach the goal, do they deserve the result that you say you want? I'm like, fair folks. Can't deny that. To moan about a result that you haven't worked for is madness, but people do it. But ultimately, this is why you get a coach. This is why you get a mentor, so they can say to you, you tell me you want to lose this amount of weight, you tell me you want to jump this high, you want to be selected for the first team rugby, whatever. I will pretty much say, these are the inputs we need, these are the sessions, this is how consistent we need to be, and then you go away and do it, and like, you'll probably get the result, because that's my expert area where I can say, this is what you need to do in order to get that result. Okay. But yeah, are you doing what you need to in order to get the result you want? Simple question. If you're not there, well, you know what you need to do? You need to figure that shit out. You need to sort it out. And when I say this stuff, like, I always say it lightheartedly. I'm not saying you need to do better. I think, to be honest, I think we all need to do a little bit better, but like, take it with a pinch of salt, because the stuff that I speak about here is like, not that I've got it cracked and all figured out. Some of the stuff I feel like I could do a decent job of speaking about from a place of I've been there, done it. But a lot of the time, I'm also speaking to myself. So you are what you repeatedly do. Okay, you are what you repeatedly do. Nothing happens, nothing amazing happens in isolation. It's not just one occurrence. So we need to stack those wins. We need to be thinking about, what can we do a couple of times a week, every single week, for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. What do we need to do to make it a part of who you are and just a part of your day-to-day, and removing the friction and getting rid of the barriers, okay? Because we know consistency is vital. So how do we improve consistency? Well, I think it's figuring out what makes you inconsistent and then solving for that. Okay. So we'll go through a few examples. Let's say you are inconsistent with getting 3 sessions in per week, and let's problem solve this, right? Let's actually go into this a little bit deeper and figure out a solution, because that's what you need to be good at here. You just need to be good at figuring out solutions and not just accepting the failure as a failure. Like let's try and make the most of this situation. So I'm inconsistent with getting 3 sessions in per week. Why? Okay, so you need to ask that question, like, what is the inconsistency coming from? Is it because your car always breaks down? Okay, in which case we need to figure out, 1, get a better car. 2, can you use public transport? 3, can you get yourself a bike? Can you pick a gym closer to your home or your work so you don't need a car, right? So that's the types of questions we need to be asking, is thinking about what are your common barriers to you being inconsistent, okay? And write them down. Literally get a pen and paper and be like, that always props up. Like, that's me all over. It might be the kids. It might be work. Let's go through that one, okay? Because work always overruns. I always work past 5 o'clock. Okay, well, let's be better at putting your boundaries in place that you do finish at 5 or 5:30. Okay, maybe you say to me, it's not really possible. Okay, well, let's go on to the next option then. Can you go to the gym on your lunch? Okay, can you just sandwich it in the middle of the day so that when work does overrun, it doesn't mean you missed a session? You might say to me, I only get 45 minutes for lunch. My gym is 15 minutes away. That would only leave me with a 15-minute session. Fine. Okay. The thing with these is, like, I'm giving you examples and any of them can work, but you probably just need to pick the one that sounds the most appealing, that is the best problem that you want to solve, and just lean into it and just be like, that is the sword that I'm going to wield that is going to solve my problem of being inconsistent, and I'm going to stick with it for a while. You could also go in the morning before work. Okay, you might say, I'm not a morning person. Well, fuck me. Like, what do you want? Like, do you actually want to get better or not? Like, I'm giving you enough options here to just actually solve it. And that's the other thing sometimes. I sometimes feel like people just want to moan and don't want to actually solve the issue. And that's fine. Sometimes you do need moaning therapy. You do need to just chat. But don't come to this podcast and try and moan to me. I'm speaking to myself in my office. Anyway, so go in the morning before work. Box it off before work takes control. Okay, fine. Could you do evenings but do shorter sessions? That's definitely an option. Just pick your bang for your buck. It might not be a 1 hour 30 session. It might be a 40-minute. Cool, it's fine. You're going to be better than if you didn't do anything. Okay, here's another option. Instead of planning for your gym sessions to be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, how about you just do your weekends for your big sessions? And then maybe tick off one bodyweight session that you can do at home. You can do your Nordics, you can do your rotator cuff work, you can do your whatever you've got to do. Okay, so that's a really good option. Like, when you've got more time, do it then. So moral of the story there is, find out what makes you inconsistent and solve for that. That is going to be the way that you really improve your consistency and make gains over the long term. Let's do another one. That was fun. Let's do a food one. Food one always gets people, doesn't it? So I'm not consistent with calories and nutrition. I always pig out in the evening. This is literally me. Okay, well, can you eat dinner later to avoid the cravings? There's one, right? Instead of having dinner at 6 and then having 4.5 hours of no more eating time before you go to bed, where, your brain can just, get hooked on Cocoa Pops, whatever your vice is. I like Cocoa Pops at the minute because you get, the thing I like about Cocoa Pops, just to kind of go off on a tangent here, is they are air, right? It's rice and it's air. So you get a lot of spoonfuls per portion. You still, like, you put a cereal in a bowl and it is the most soul crushing thing to do as an adult when you weigh it and you're like, fuck, that's not 30 grams, that can grow up. But genuinely, when you get Cocoa Pops, you might have to do a portion and a half, maybe 2 portions. You get so many spoonfuls, and I'm all about that. I'm about volume. I was speaking to the missus about this the other day. I'm a volume guy when it comes to food. Like, give me medium quality food, but give me a lot of it and I'm a happy man. But if you give me those little farty appetizers, like, I've never been to a posh restaurant, so I don't even know why I'm trying to pretend like I'm a posh guy. But you see him on the TV where it's like, you get a mouthful of like a hors d'oeuvre or caviar, so you can piss off with that. It doesn't do anything for me. I want volume. Anyway, going back to the thing, can you just eat dinner later on in the day to avoid those evening cravings? Okay, maybe that doesn't work for you because you need to eat with the missus or the kids. Why? How about you just don't buy crap food in the house? So get rid of the biscuits, get rid of the crisps, get rid of cereal, don't buy them so you won't impulsively go and just eat them. That's a good one. That would solve it. Buy fruit, buy some lower calorie snacks, okay? Buy something that actually supports your goal. If it is weight loss, right? If it's weight gain, well, potentially you need to buy some peanut butter and you need to get some protein bars and you need to get whatever. So here's some options. Can you, if you are somebody that genuinely just really enjoys a little bit of an evening eat, well, maybe you just save your calories for the evening. So if you track your calories, which at some point I'd recommend you do, because I think having clarity over what you actually put in your mouth is a really empowering thing. But yeah, can you just save your calories? Like save yourself, once you've had your dinner, save yourself 500 calories to eat what you want. If it's mostly like sugary food you're going for, save 500 grams, 500 calories worth of sugar and carbs. You know, that can work. But if you don't plan for that and you just kind of roll into the evening thinking it is what it is, whatever happens, happens. If he dies, then you're going to go over. So it all works, right? But ultimately, what you need to do is figure out what are the barriers, what are the things making you inconsistent, solve for those inconsistencies, solve for the common barriers, and it's like within S&C, we'll do this sometimes where, let's say, for example, we know that within a rugby game, you're going to be exposed to a certain amount of high intensity meters in an average game. Okay. And those high intensity, high speed meters, those sprint speeds are typically, let's just say, I don't know, 1,000 meters, right? But every once in a while, there is an occurrence of 1,500. You want to make sure that you're at least kind of dipping your toe in being able to prepare for those big occasions, because if you don't and one of those things comes around, you're then going to be in a situation where you're potentially, under prepared for a big occasion that could be catastrophic. And it's all about planning. Genuinely, it's all about planning. I think, what's the 3 Ps? Fucking what is it? Poor planning prevents piss poor performance. 5 Ps. Yeah, there it is. Roll with that. Like genuinely just sit down, pen and paper, think about your problems, think about the things that you actually want to achieve this year and try and break it down a little bit. Go to a Starbucks, don't take your phone and sit down and plan it. But it all works. But is actually one for you as well. Perfectionism. People say, I always fail because I'm a perfectionist. And it's one of these things that people wrap up in a good thing of like, oh yeah, I'm just too much of a perfectionist. That's why I just don't get stuff done. I just want it to be perfect. And it's like, what you're telling me there is you can't complete a task. You're not resilient enough and adaptable enough to still make your way towards the goal when things don't go well. That sounds horrible when I'm saying it like that, but genuinely, that's how I hear it sometimes. Like, you're just telling me you can't complete the thing. And that's okay. Like, it's okay if you struggle with deadlines or you struggle with not having a plan in place or you need bite-sized chunks to get you to that point. But using perfectionism as an excuse, that's what it is. It's an excuse. It's not like I'm holier than thou. Like I've got this thing which means that I'm going to create a great piece of work. It'll probably still be average, to be honest. And I hear this a lot when it comes around like social media content, because obviously that's a big part of what I do or build. And I want things to be good. We all want things to be good, but sometimes good enough is what you need, because then you can get enough volume in. You can do enough of it so you can continually put it out. What went well? What didn't go well? How can I improve? Get it out again. So that's why doing like one social media post a week just isn't going to cut it. You probably need 4 or 5 okay pieces that gradually drags that average up, because you're getting good feedback in terms of what's working, what's not working. Is the hook good? Is the idea good? Is my editing skills good? All that type of thing. Anyway, all that going around and saying, look, perfectionism, you probably just need to ditch that, because if you're in this situation at the moment where you are not where you want to be in terms of your training or your business or your nutrition, but you have this perfectionist, this all or nothing mindset, you need to change it, because 2026 is here and it's going to be the same as 2025 and 2024 unless you decide to make a big change. Look at me. I'm genuinely a motivational speaker right now. So fucking after that. Another one. Okay. Another plan, another way of figuring this out for you. Make better plan A's. Okay. If you are somebody that's really struggling with your consistency, I can't get 3 sessions in a week consistently. I can't stick to my calories consistently. I can't post 3 times a week consistently. Maybe the plan just isn't right for you at the moment. Maybe we just need to find something that is better suited to where you need to be. And gradually building you up. Maybe we just do 2 sessions a week for a while until that becomes almost effortless and you're begging me for that third. And then we give you a third. We do this with coaching all the time. So many people will come onto the coaching program like, right, I'm ready to start taking my training seriously. I haven't been training recently, but let's start off with, 5 sessions a week. And I'm like, but you've done none for a while. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe let's do 2 or 3. Let's nail 2 or 3. Let's get in a really good routine with 2 or 3. And then once you do that consistently for 6 weeks, we'll talk about adding a fourth. Do that again. We might add a fifth. So maybe you need better plan A's, and maybe you need better expectations. You need better ideas of what is actually possible in your current situation. That's why you need a coach sometimes, because they will say, look, you don't need 5 sessions. 5 sessions would be overkill. That might even be bad, and then you can kind of roll from there. So maybe you need better plan A's. Maybe you need here's the next one, better plan Bs. Maybe you need to be in a situation where you know what you're aiming for. You know what your best plan would be. But what the second option is, if plan A goes tits up, what do we need to do? Okay. This is where, let's say, for example, I literally spoke through one of the lads that's joined our program over the Christmas period, starting with us on Monday. I've written out his programs. So he's got, what's he got? He's got 3 sessions per week. He's got a Tuesday, a Thursday, and a Saturday, right? And they're all good full body sessions. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. We said to me, sometimes the Thursday session is a little bit slimmer. Okay. It has to be a little bit shorter, not all the time, but sometimes because of family stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. So my plan B to him was, okay, on your Monday, your Tuesday and your Saturday. So session 1 and session 3, always do them as written, 3 sets of everything, get it done. But your Thursday, instead of completing the whole thing, this is what I want you to do. And I basically give him the guidelines. I don't want you to only do 3 sets of 2 exercises and leave the rest. I actually wanted him to do 2 or 1 set of every exercise, So I want him to at least touch on every exercise at least once, just 1 good high quality set, 2 good high quality sets. So he's in and out of the gym in 30 minutes instead of the 60 that we would have programmed. And that's the plan B. That's what we need to do. We've set up an example of that's how I want you to approach this day when the barrier that you've already identified for us comes up. There it is. That's the solution. That's your, how can we solve it? So maybe you just need more of those. Okay. Because otherwise he might have just rolled, into that Thursday session and done it in a way that was less preferable, or decided, I've only got 30 minutes today. I'm not going to do it. Nah, get in, do the thing. Do the thing. Real quick, I'm just going to take a swig of my Lemsip. So Lemsips for me are like a hug in a mug, because I always associate them with being ill, and they always make you feel better. The lemony taste, it's nice and sweet. Oh, it's good. But yeah, the missus is ill. She's ill. I'm not ill. I've got a little bit of a bunged up nose, but I have just taken Izzy for a walk. I got in, I was like, right, I'm doing the podcast. So I sound a little bit nasally. I think it's more cold weather nasal than actually ill, but I did take one of these preventatively. Maybe I'm getting ill. Who fucking knows? Like, it's going around. I know that's a classic British thing. It is going around. But yeah, so that is the way, the real world of like how we solve for the inconsistencies and stuff like that. So it's just having good planning and having somebody guide you through that. So look, just as a shameless plug for our coaching services, if you are somebody that is looking for coaching and you want somebody to make it super simple for you, give you the guidelines so you can turn up to the gym, train really hard, get great results, and not have to stress yourself out about the ifs, the buts, the maybes, and just have somebody who's on hand. Like the amount of time I spend on my phone just answering questions on a day-to-day is a lot, right? Because that's what we're here for. Instead of you just having a PT session once a week with somebody, we're there all the time to guide you through. Like, we won't be able to help everybody because, look, if you've not had coaching before and you don't move well, or you're brand new, we might not be the best fit. But if you're somebody that knows what they're doing in the gym, they move decently well, they could do with a little bit of touch-ups in areas, but you just want somebody to guide you through the big old goal that you've got, give us a shot. Yes, there's my shameless plug. First one of the year. Get ready for like 3 a month. Big targets. So next one. So this was one of the Q&A things that came up, was around how do I use robustness circuits? Okay, I've spoken about this a little bit in the past. I can't remember if it was on a podcast or it was a reel or something like that. But robustness circuits been around for a long period of time, and I think they're probably more popularized in the combat sports space from Jeffrey Chew, who put these out around using them for Muay Thai and MMA and stuff like that. But they've been around for a long period. It's just doing an accessory circuit at the end of a session and either focusing on getting a mad old pump, doing a little bit of work to get some work capacity, some hypertrophy or general strength work. But essentially what you're going to do is pick 3 to 5 exercises that you want to spend a little bit of time on that are accessory in nature for some of the key injury areas, the hot zones, or areas that you want to spend a little bit more time on from an aesthetic standpoint. So I'll give you an example of a few, and it's basically you just pick those things and you might do it 2 to 3 rounds of 10 to 15 reps. You might do it 2 to 3 sessions per week, but at the end of a week, you've then just accumulated a lot of robustness, injury prevention in quotations, work or hypertrophy work for areas that you might have missed, right? And typically get lost. So one that I did this week for myself was I did side bends, so grabbing a heavy dumbbell and just laterally flexing down to the side, because I think it's important that you do that. I think it's good for the obliques. I think it's good for spine health. So I did that. I literally did 3 rounds of 10 reps. I then did some adductor Copenhagen's. So dynamics, so working on the adductors. You also do get a little bit of oblique work in there as well. I think adductors are super underrated. I think they are so powerful for helping you get on top of back issues, to be honest. And we've seen that with our athletes as well. So Copenhagen's got in. I did some spinal flexion work. So I did, I hung from a pull-up bar with a bar behind my lower back, and I basically like arched up and like did a hanging knee raise essentially, but actively thought about tucking my pelvis up. So shortening the rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscles. I wasn't just bringing my knees up to 90 degrees because that's hip flexor. You want to make sure you actually like curl the hips and get some shortness. I then did some rotator cuff. So I did some external rotations with a dumbbell at 90 degrees. And that was it. That was my robustness circuit. So I've also done them in terms of pump work. So it might be I do press ups. Let's go with I do 1.5 press ups. So imagine you're in the top of a press up position. You go all the way down to the bottom, chest to floor. You're going to come up halfway. You're then going to go back down to the bottom. And then you're going to go all the way up. So that's a 1.5 rep or a 1.5 press up, right? So you spend a lot of time in the lengthened position. So it's a juicy pump. So that would be one that I would do. I would then do the same again for a TRX row. I'd do 1.5 reps. So with arms locked out and lengthened, you pull yourself all the way up. So handles are next to your chest. You're then going to lower yourself halfway, pull yourself up again, and then go back down. So same thing. You would then do some lateral raises, okay? But I would do them as like a loo raise type thing. So you're going all the way up overhead, potentially with a plate. So I might do 3. So there you go. You got like a nice little, what do I call that? It's got a name. So within the ADAPT programming system, we have like arm options 1, arm options 2, arm options 3. And they've all got like mad names like Lord Swoldemore or Donald Pump or Arm Farm, right? Stuff like that. So that one has got a name and I can't remember what it was. Dame Judy Dench, I'm not sure. Whatever. But that'd be a nice one for like a little bit of armor building, the torso thickener. It might be the torso thickener, actually. But anyway, so robustness circuits, you can use them for whatever you want. But the principle is essentially pick some exercises, go back to back to back to back, no rest. We're just trying to churn through some good quality reps, some good volume, and that will add up. It's a little bit of snack. It's a hypertrophy snack. It's an injury prevention snack that you would put at the end of a compound session, where you do your squats, your deadlifts, your lunges, your presses, your pulls, and you just get a little bit of accessory volume in. So that's how I use them, to be honest. And they work well. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you're good. Last one then. What are some of my go-to quick and short conditioning sessions? So the one that I've been hammering over the last 6 months, maybe a year, is sprint intervals, right? I've spoken a little bit about sprint intervals in the past, and I've just finished off a course or a mentorship with Andrew Usher, who's a wizard in this area. And just to give you a quick physiology lesson on why sprint intervals are really good. So you've got central adaptations, and this is all conditioning based, so energy systems. You've got central adaptation. So when I say central, I mean heart and lungs. So the heart and lungs ability to pump oxygen to the working muscles, right? So that is typically your lower intensity work, your zone 2, your zone 3, your longer intervals where you do 6 minutes on, 1 minute off. Like, you're working on the heart's ability to pump. It's your fuel tank, right? On the opposite end of the spectrum, so that was all quite lower intensity, high volume work, really good for oxygen delivery. Now let's think about peripheral adaptation. So the muscle's ability to take that oxygen that you've just pumped to it and use it. Okay, because it's all good you being able to pump oxygen, but if you can't take it and use it where you need to use it in order to produce contractions, then is it useful? Maybe not, And that is one of the reasons why this has been popularized, is because they've basically identified that the difference between elite performers isn't VO2 max. Okay, and that's been taken in a variety of sports. So if the VO2 max and your ability to pump oxygen isn't the determining factor, then why are some people fitter than others when they've got the same VO2? It's like, oh, interesting. But essentially what we're going to do with the sprint intervals, it's like the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It's intensity driven, super high intensity, lower volumes, right? And we are trying to kill yourself on the bike essentially, or whatever you decide to do it on. I do it on the watt bike most of the time, sometimes the assault bike when my elbows agree with me. But yeah, so with this, what I've been doing is 30 seconds on, 110%, like go, 60 seconds off, 2 reps. So that's it. It's 2 reps of 30 seconds on, but you got to go. Like, the intensity has got to be mad. You've got to get nasty with yourself. You've got to go to a dark place. You've got to make sure that for every second of that 30-second interval is like, I will die if I stop sooner. Get to that long post, otherwise everyone thinks I'm a dweeb. Like, it's that mentality. So yeah, and they're so hard. Like, you'll do them 2 to 3 times a week. But honestly, when I say that doing conditioning, and in particular doing high intensity, like sprint interval work, it has been the biggest game changer that I've made this year in terms of how my body feels, how good I feel on the mats, how good I feel recovering between rounds, between exchanges, between sessions. So yeah, like super high intensity. Look, that's 2 minutes worth of work. It's 10 minutes if you give yourself a couple of minutes of warm up, which I'd recommend, and then giving yourself 5 minutes after this will not be enough for you to feel human, to be honest. But you can die on the way home. Like, you can die when you get to the changing room, whatever you need to do. But yeah, so we've done a lot of these. Do them for a while. You can then play around with the work and the rest ratio. So it might be that if you need more power, like you're recovering pretty well, but your actual outputs are not amazing, well, then you might do 10 seconds on, 40 seconds off, and you might do that 6 times. So you're still collecting 60 seconds worth of work, but you're playing with the work to rest ratio. It might be the opposite. It might be, actually, we want to kind of drag you to deeper waters and we do want more 30 seconds, and you might do 3 rounds of that. It might be 4 rounds. Like, we can start fucking around with it a little bit. But there's some of my go-tos because I think you can get so much from them. And I think because so few people truly go hard on their conditioning, I think the adaptations that you make are pretty crazy from a mitochondrial standpoint. So mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell and the ability to really get that working well and function efficiently is huge. So yeah, there's some of my go-tos at the minute. I've been programming them like mad. We're getting amazing results. So I would use a heart rate monitor to really like hold yourself accountable. And then I'll also, if you can, use the same machine every single time. So if you're using a watt bike, use the same watt bike. If you're using an assault bike, use the same assault bike, just because calibration will be an issue. Like, they're not all created equally, unfortunately, because some just take more wear and tear. Some monitors are shit. So be consistent with that, and then hold yourself accountable to trying to set PBs. Like, what was the peak watts that you hit? Okay, in your first interval, and then in the second interval, where can you PB that? Like, can you just attack the second one a little bit better? Can you make your average over the 30 seconds better? And yeah, if you can dig deep and really kind of work hard on that, honestly, the gains you'll make be pretty insane. I put out a free program for conditioning. What do I call it? The conditioning blueprint. If you want that, drop me a message on Instagram and I'll send you over for free. It's 16 weeks worth of programming. It will build you through central adaptations all the way through to peripheral adaptations in a systematic manner. And yeah, it works really well. Like the results we've been getting on that's been mad, and they're not athletes that work with us. They're just kind of people that downloaded our free shit and, cracked on with it. And just, they're easy to add into a week. That's the beautiful thing. But yeah, so there it is. There's a few bits that you can take away and roll with. Okay. What do I speak through? Let me give you a quick reminder. What did I remind? So we spoke through my highlights for the year, what's been going well. I might do another episode in terms of us talking through what I want to build towards this next year. I spoke about being a little bit more consistent with the podcast, and I will do that. We spoke about being consistent with the podcast, consistent with your goals. Maybe I'll do one for being consistent with the podcast. Being more consistent with your goals is getting rid of the inconsistent bits, solving for the inconsistencies. The second one was around creating better plan A's and plan B's, getting rid of the idea of perfectionism. We spoke about using robustness circuits. And we spoke about conditioning, my quick and easy ones. There it is. There it is. There it is. First one of the year, boxed off. It's been emotional. It's been lovely. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully there's been something of value in there for you. Real quick before you go, I'm a little bit of a fake fan. I'm going to come clean. I've only watched the last couple episodes of Stranger Things. I got into it. I enjoyed it. There's going to be no spoilers, by the way. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't watched the last season. If you have watched it, let me know what you think, because I think it's controversial. Like, my reel's been going mad for it. There's been some good memes, been some good quality memes. But yeah, let me know. Are you a Stranger Things fan? And what did you think to the finale? I'll leave it there. Cool. If you've got any questions about today's episode, guys, give me a shout. I love you all. Okay, that is the end of today's episode, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please do let us know and then share it with somebody who may find this episode interesting. Okay, see you next time. Cheers.